Welcome to this video on existentialism. I'm Andrew Chapman. I'm a professor of philosophy, and I'll be your guide. Existentialism is a philosophical movement that emphasizes individual freedom, choice, and the subjective experiences of human existence. Emerging primarily in the 19th and 20th centuries, it challenges traditional notions of objective truth and scientific rationalism. Existentialism asserts that the most crucial considerations for individuals are personal freedom, the construction of meaning, and conscious engagement with one's own existence. Unlike many other philosophical schools, it places a strong emphasis on personal responsibility and the role of individual decision-making in crafting a meaningful life. This philosophical perspective is often summarized by the phrase existence precedes essence, reversing the classical metaphysical idea that the essence or nature of a thing is more fundamental than its existence. Existentialism's roots can be traced back to the 19th century with the philosophical writings of Soren Kierkegaard and Friedrich Nietzsche. These philosophers emphasized the individual's subjective experience and the inherent conflicts within human existence, such as faith versus reason and freedom versus responsibility. The movement gained fuller expression in the 20th century, particularly after World War II, when philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Martin Heidegger explored deeper into the absurdity of life and the isolation felt by individuals in a meaningless or indifferent universe. Their work highlighted the existential crisis arising from recognizing the lack of inherent meaning in the universe, pushing existentialism to the forefront of philosophical discourse. The historical significance of existentialism is deeply tied to the cultural and intellectual climate of its time. The disillusionment following the devastation of the world wars prompted a reevaluation of previously held beliefs about humanity, progress, and the nature of existence. Existentialism provided a framework for understanding the feelings of alienation, absurdity, and even freedom that permeated society. It challenged individuals to confront the realities of their existence without relying on traditional societal structures or religious doctrines, emphasizing personal responsibility and authentic living. Soren Kierkegaard is often considered the father of existentialism. He introduced the idea of the leap of faith, emphasizing the necessity of making personal, subjective commitments in the face of uncertainty. Kierkegaard explored themes of anxiety, despair, and the individual's relationship with God, arguing that true understanding comes from personal experience rather than from objective analysis. Friedrich Nietzsche analyzed nihilism and the concept of the will to power. He proclaimed the death of God, signaling the collapse of traditional moral values and the need for individuals to create their own values in the absence of objective truths. Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch encouraged people to rise above conventional morality and achieve personal greatness. Martin Heidegger focused on the nature of being, introducing concepts like Dasein to explore human existence. His work emphasized authenticity and the importance of confronting one's own mortality. Heidegger discussed being toward death as a way to live more authentically by acknowledging the finite nature of life. Jean-Paul Sartre argued for radical freedom, stating that humans are condemned to be free and must take responsibility for their choices. He introduced the concept of bad faith to describe the denial of one's freedom and responsibility. Sartre's work stressed the ethical implications of existentialist thought, highlighting the weight of personal decisions. Simone de Beauvoir extended existentialist ideas to feminist theory. In The Second Sex, she examined how women have been historically defined by their relationships to men, advocating for women's liberation through self-determination. De Beauvoir emphasized the importance of individuals defining themselves, rather than being defined by societal roles. At the heart of existentialism is the belief that individuals are free and responsible agents determining their own development through acts of the will. One fundamental concept is the already mentioned existence precedes essence, meaning individuals are not born with a predetermined purpose. They exist first and then create their own essence through their choices and actions, which emphasizes that people define themselves by their decisions rather than any inherent nature. With the absence of predetermined essence comes absolute freedom. Individuals have the freedom to choose their path, but this freedom also brings the weight of responsibility for their actions and the consequences that follow. Existentialism places significant emphasis on personal experience and interpretation, holding that subjective human experience is the starting point for understanding human existence. Authenticity is another core principle, involving living in accordance with one's true self, values, and beliefs rather than conforming to external pressures or societal expectations. Authenticity requires self-awareness and acceptance of one's responsibility. The recognition that there is no inherent meaning in the universe leads to the concept of the absurd. Individuals must confront the absurdity of life and find their own meaning despite it. The realization of one's absolute freedom and the burden of responsibility can lead to feelings of existential anxiety or angst. This is a natural response to the human condition and can prompt individuals to make meaningful choices. By facing this anxiety, individuals can move toward authentic living and personal growth. Existentialism has profound implications in contemporary life, influencing areas such as psychology, education, and literature. In psychology, existential therapy focuses on concepts like choice, freedom, and the search for meaning, helping individuals confront existential concerns such as death, isolation, and meaninglessness. This therapeutic approach encourages clients to take responsibility for their lives and find purpose through authentic choices. In education, existentialist ideas promote student-centered learning, encouraging self-directed exploration and critical thinking. This approach fosters deeper engagement with learning materials and emphasizes the development of individual values and beliefs. Literature and the arts have been significantly influenced by existentialist themes. Writers like Albert Camus and Franz Kafka explored absurdity, alienation, and the human struggle for meaning. Their works resonate with readers facing similar existential dilemmas, reflecting the universal relevance of existentialist thought. Within existentialism, significant debates center around the concepts of freedom, responsibility, and the nature of authenticity. Some existentialists, such as Jean-Paul Sartre, argue for radical freedom, where individuals are entirely free to create their own values. Others, like Martin Heidegger, emphasize the limitations imposed by factors such as culture, history, and personal circumstances, suggesting that freedom is not absolute, but is instead situated. The interpretation of what constitutes an authentic life varies among existentialists. Some advocate for a stoic acceptance of existential realities, while others, like Albert Camus, suggest an active rebellion against the absurdity of existence. Simone de Beauvoir introduced the idea of ethical responsibility toward others, arguing that one's freedom is intertwined with the freedom of others. These debates illustrate the rich and varied landscape of existentialist thought, highlighting its relevance to personal and societal issues. The differing perspectives allow for a dynamic discourse on how individuals can navigate the complexities of existence. Critics of existentialism often challenge its focus on individualism and subjective experience, arguing that it can lead to ethical relativism or even nihilism. Without objective standards, they contend, moral judgments become entirely personal, potentially leading to a fragmented society. In response, existentialists like Sartre argue that recognizing individual freedom imposes a greater ethical responsibility. Since individuals are responsible for defining their values, they must consider the impact of their actions on others, promoting integrity and ethical engagement. Another criticism is that existentialism's emphasis on the absurd and the lack of inherent meaning can foster despair or apathy. Existentialists counter that confronting these realities can lead to a more authentic and fulfilling life. By acknowledging the absence of predetermined meaning, individuals are free to create their own purpose and engage more deeply with their existence. Existentialist ideas have deeply influenced various disciplines beyond philosophy. In literature, existential themes are prevalent in the works of authors like Fyodor Dostoevsky, Samuel Beckett, and Jean-Paul Sartre himself. These works explore the human condition, freedom, and the search for meaning. In theology, existentialism has encouraged a more personal and direct relationship with spirituality. Thinkers like Paul Tillich integrate existentialist concepts into Christian theology, emphasizing individual faith experiences. Today, existentialism continues to influence philosophical discussions, particularly regarding personal identity, ethics, and the nature of freedom. It remains vital in exploring the role of the individual in crafting a meaningful life in a complex, often uncertain world. Existentialist ideas resonate in popular culture, evident in films, literature, and art that deal with the themes of alienation, authenticity, and the search for meaning. In a society grappling with rapid technological advancements and shifting social norms, existentialism offers a framework for individuals to navigate their existence consciously. It encourages people to question societal expectations, embrace personal freedom, and take responsibility for their choices. Existentialism's impact on modern thought is profound, reshaping perspectives on individual autonomy and ethical responsibility. Its legacy is evident in contemporary culture's emphasis on freedom, personal development, and authenticity. Existentialist thought has influenced movements advocating for civil rights, gender equality, and personal liberation. The movement has left a lasting mark on how we understand our existence and navigate life's complexities. By advocating for a life lived with awareness and deliberate choice, existentialism challenges individuals to engage deeply with their existence, fostering a society that values personal responsibility and authentic living. In conclusion, existentialism is a philosophical movement that emphasizes individual freedom, responsibility, and the search for meaning in a seemingly purposeless universe. By focusing on subjective human experiences, it challenges individuals to live authentically and create their own meaning, despite inherent existential challenges. Existentialism encourages a thoughtful engagement with life's fundamental questions, promoting a philosophy of action and personal responsibility in creating a meaningful existence. Its enduring relevance across various disciplines highlights its profound impact on modern thought and culture.